right there. There we go. We good, Lonnie? Good morning from the office. I'm your host, BKP. I'm glad to be back this Monday morning trying to get my volume going. Send me a text, 706-889-9700 or chief@fetchernews.com. You can see that at the bottom of the screen if you want to get involved in the conversation. We got a lot to do today. Broke out a couple pairs of glasses. Hope you had a good weekend. Had a great Friday night watching football. Don't forget, 8:30 Monday morning quarterback. We're going to be highlighting the Union County Panthers and the Gilmer County Bobcats. That's at 8:30 this morning. Again, I'm your host, BKP. We've got our Ronald Reagan diary this morning. We're going to go back into 1985, but first, let me go over a couple things. Trying to get situated. At 8:30, have a great, at 9 o'clock, have a guest coming in. Christy Lindstrom's going to come in. We're going to be talking about barbecue. What are you doing this Labor Day weekend coming up? So we're going to have her in here at 9. And at 9:30, we're going to look a little closer at Who Lit the Candle, Part 4, just a little bit. We have a couple things we want to follow up there. And tomorrow, Fannin County Courthouse, Ada Street LLC. They go to court, City of Blue Ridge there, over some zoning. But first, you know, when I come in every morning, I have to, there's a song. Do you guys like a game song when you're preparing for the big game or you're preparing for what you're about to do? You have that game song. Mine is Traffic, Dear Mr. Fantasy. I try every morning about 7:50 to listen to Traffic, Dear Mr. Fantasy, because that's where we're at. Now we're going to do in just a minute, we're going to do Donald Trump's Immigration Plan 101 Common Sense. We're going to go through this because if you're picking up this morning on the media, all you're hearing is Amnesty Don, he flip-flopped on immigration. We're going to do a full segment on Donald Trump's immigration plan. We're going to do that. First, we want to remember Ramon Talbert and Mr. Unknown. We want to remember them this morning on the show. FYNTV.com, FetcherNews.com. Good morning from the office. Ramon Talbert and Mr. Unknown. We want to remember them this morning. I'll explain a little later. Kaepernick, all right. You know what? I have seen the burning jerseys. I've seen everything. I've seen the pictures of his house, the injustice that he's concerned about. Colin Kaepernick. I guess this is where you get angry with me. We haven't got the warning button ready yet, Lonnie, for warning for those that need to insert head in sand now. Politically correctness. Kaepernick's been a thug from day one he came into the league. He was a fluke the first year. He's a thug. We have the thug culture in the NFL, and Kaepernick just puts the icing on the cake of why I no longer deal with a certain Sunday NFL football package I no longer purchase. I no longer watch, I guarantee you, Super Bowl, playoffs, but on Sunday, very seldom watching too much NFL anymore at all. There you go. Kaepernick is an example of the thug culture in the NFL. That's just all there is to it. Hey, don't stand, collect a paycheck. Don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. We're going to hear a lot today about pay to play. Pay to play, we do know that the Clintons, the Clinton Foundation, Uma Abedin, we know all of that, the pay to play. We'll get into that later. It's a shame that on the major media networks, it took 30 minutes this morning for Morning Joe to even get into pay to play. Now, here's something I brought up before we get into our Donald Trump Immigration Plan 101. I brought this up a good month ago, maybe even longer, but a month ago. And I may be the first one, this show right here, we may be the first ones to have framed the campaign this way. Do you remember about a month ago, I played the LBJ? You remember who he was running against? Who was LBJ running against? Barry Goldwater, remember? Okay, so LBJ wanted to make it look like, right, that if elected, remember the little girl picking the petals off the flower, counting them, and then the atomic nuclear blast took off, that if Barry Goldwater was elected, remember, he would drop a nuclear bomb. He could not be trusted because he did not have the temperament. Now, this is really going back into the playbook for Democrats right now. But you remember I brought that up? Now, this morning, what are they looking at? It's time to look at Trump's mental health. Now, folks, if you're out there and you're wavering on whether you support Donald Trump, if you don't know if you can come on board, or if you're concerned at the things he says, maybe you shouldn't be concerned with the things Donald Trump says as much as the way the media frames them and takes them to the next level. It's time to look at Trump's mental health. Pluff yesterday, remember Pluff? He is the former campaign chair for Barack Obama. Pluff, you notice the Obama administration will not touch the emails, the breach of national security in the email scandal. It's not an email scandal, it's a national security scandal, okay? They won't touch any of that. They won't touch the Clinton Foundation. They won't touch the pay-to-play. They won't touch that. But Pluff comes out yesterday, they push him out, and he says Trump is a psychopath. You know, what's that song, Psycho Killer? Right, Lonnie? You know what I'm talking about? Is it Talking Heads? All right. He said Trump's a psychopath. A psychopath. Folks, do a Google search and watch how they were questioning Barry Goldwater's was mentally unfit to hold office. Go back in the playbook. They're using the Barry Goldwater playbook. 1, his temperament. 2, he will drop the nuke. And 3, he's not mentally fit. So just go in and Google Barry Goldwater not mentally fit to hold office. See what comes up. I'm telling you. Dwayne Wade's cousin, all right? Dwayne Wade's cousin is killed, gunned down in Chicago, pushing a stroller, all right? Donald Trump's been talking about the inner city. He's the one bringing it up of what's going on. But no, he puts out a tweet and he says, hey, this is what I'm talking about, and, you know, vote for Donald Trump. It's the only way you can make strides to change the inner city is to vote for that. You're going to get the same thing. So, they're attacking him. He's mentally unfit. Dwayne Wade. Hillary only sees people of color as votes. Now, they're saying that Donald Trump's out on the campaign trail saying that, but then he tweets out, vote for Donald Trump. Look, even President Obama, he said the last time, remember that? He said he is tired of sending his thoughts and prayers to the families. Remember? I'm tired of all we do is keep coming out here and saying we send our thoughts and prayers to the families. Even Obama's tired of that. You need to be tired of it. And the black community in the inner cities needs to be tired of it because Trump's telling the truth. Beyonce parading out Michael Brown's mom. She's parading around with Michael Brown's mom, Beyonce. They're not highlighting, the elites are not highlighting the what's going on in the black communities and the terror that's taking place in the streets, where a mother can't even push a stroller down the street with her child in Chicago in the inner cities, okay? And the fear that they have to live in the inner cities, they're not highlighting that. They're highlighting the thug culture. That's what they're highlighting. They're highlighting how Kaepernick and Beyonce are highlighting how bad the police are. The injustice. Okay, the injustice. Now, let me just say this. Hold on a second. I might have to switch glasses here, Lonnie. Okay, now, is that Nikila Aldridge? Is that her name, Nikila Aldridge? She's 32 years old, black shooting, all right? This was on August 26th. Nikila Aldridge, right? On August 26th, Ramon Talbert was shot down. He was black. He was shot. Cause of death, shooting. 6:50 p.m. My God, he was black. Well, I'm for sure the media will put his name right up next to Nikila Aldridge's name. Although he does not have a famous basketball cousin, star as a cousin, I'm for sure they're going to roll Ramon's name right out there. He was killed same day in Chicago. Let's see who else. Oh, there's unknown. Have you ever looked? I dare you to call a city morgue this morning and ask them how many John Does or unknowns they have. Oh yeah, you would be shocked to find that out in America. The things that Donald Trump is telling you that's happening in America, you'd be shocked. But you know what? You and I are not shocked this morning. This campaign, this election is not for the elite and not for the elite media. Okay? Unknown, 55-year-old, shot, dead, August 26th, August 23rd. Victor Manta, shot and killed. He was Hispanic. Takia Ali, 20 years old, black, shot. They missed those. They missed those. But Donald Trump's the bad guy for sending the tweet out. Oh yeah, Donald's the bad guy. Yeah, he sent the tweet out, but they missed those. Beyonce missed those. They're highlighting the thug culture, the unjust. Folks, this campaign, this election is not for the elite. Now, all you keep hearing, let's get into the immigration plan, because this is the Donald Trump's immigration plan for dummies. Now, don't get angry with me because I said for dummies, because all of us have one of those for dummy books on the shelf somewhere, right? Windows for dummies, this for dummies. I don't know what Lonnie has for dummies on his shelf, but we all have one of those for dummies books. So let's go into Trump's immigration plan. Now, God forbid Trump is humane. God forbid that he doesn't want to drag third graders out of class, give them 40 lashes, or take them to the center of town and have children watch these deportation forces that we pictured in movies with black outfits and the full face masks and the helmets that are rounding up and putting on the buses that we see in movies. Then, you know, God forbid Trump doesn't want, this is the picture that the media wanted you to see 6 months ago, 5 months ago, when he came down the escalator and he said rapists and murderers. Okay, the picture the media wanted to create is they were bringing a little kid out of school and they were taking the little kid and having the little kid watch the mother and father get 40 lashes and then say, we're taking them away from you and tearing your family apart. That's the picture the media built the whole time. But see, the whole entire time Donald Trump's been talking, nobody has been listening because they can't get past the media sound bites of the elite media of the picture they've tried to create on immigration. So we're going to do Donald Trump's immigration plan for dummies. It's Donald Trump's immigration plan 101. It's Donald Trump's immigration plan with common sense. Oh, no, Donald Trump may be humane. We have current laws on the books. Now, how is this going to be done? We'll do this in a minute. Let's go through some pictures. Lonnie, start with my first picture. Folks, we got to stop and clear the border. Go to the second one. Okay, they say the Rio Grande is so shallow right now they can walk right across. They're walking across. Now, what you want me to believe, or you want to tell me, is that, oh, that picture of a train load, that was taken some years ago, okay, and that doesn't happen. Well, let me tell you something. We have to close the border. First and foremost, he will start building a wall. The border has to be closed. That will not change, okay? We will enforce the border. The train that you see, I, for one, have been on the construction job site where all the other guys were laughing because Jose would not jump. Yes, take a train, and when they get outside of Houston, and they get out in the country and they get outside of Houston, okay, they have to jump. They can't take the train all the way into the city. They have to jump. So they come in, they have to jump off that train while it's moving, and they got to roll. You think I'm making this up? I've heard the stories, okay? And they all made fun because they were yelling, Jose, no jump. Jose, no jump. You think that's funny? I've heard the stories. Ask Jerry. He'll tell you, my brother. We've heard the stories. They come across on the trains. They got to jump before they get to the city. They come across the water, okay? Period. He will build the wall. Done deal, okay? For you that don't understand, we will build the wall. We will have a border. He will not change that. Go to my next. What do I have scheduled next? Okay. Now, folks, I'm going to play a video. It's about 2 minutes long, so stay with it. It's a news report. It's a news report out in Compton, LA. It was some time ago. It just gives you a little window opening into some things that's going on that the elite media will not follow, they will not talk about, but guess what? In the inner city where Donald Trump's going to get the votes, they know this is happening. Play that video real quick. Stay with me. Turn that up.
Sheriff's deputies are investigating 2 hate crimes in Compton. In one case, authorities say gang members repeatedly terrorized an African-American family. New at 6, NBC4's Michelle Valles live in Compton. Michelle, what are residents telling you tonight about what happened?
Well, they simply say the demographics here are changing. For instance, this is an African-American Baptist church behind me that is now in the middle of what is now a predominantly Hispanic neighborhood. And they say recently a Mexican street gang tagged that church, and deputies say it's more hate crimes that's happening between those 2 groups.
It's like you might as well just put a hood on your head and ride around and say, you know, we don't like black people. I mean, it'd be better like that.
Well, Francis says the racial street war continues in Compton, differing from block to block. Sharon Smith says her black neighbor couldn't even walk home one time.
He was trying to come home after work, but he was chased home by Mexican Americans.
Then there was New Year's Eve, 153rd Street. Deputies say Mexican gang members threatened a black man walking home, beat him up. 30 minutes later, up to 20 Mexican gang members surrounded his home, threw a beer bottle through the window, shouted the N-word, and told them they couldn't live there because of their race. These 2 armed gang members were arrested for the reported hate crime.
They're strictly from gangs, exactly, and we're doing our best.
It's not a gang thing. It's a it's a power thing.
And nothing new, LaFrancis says, who claims he was jumped by 10 Latinos in 10th grade. But what is changing are the demographics and the crackdown on hate crimes in the area. But what's really needed, according to him,
There's no African-American leaders trying to bring the 2 together.
and in all fairness, I also found lots of unity in parts of Compton, but it's incidents like this that give a black eye on the community. The community says it's time for more multi-ethnic dialogue and action. We're live tonight from Compton. Michelle Valles, NBC4 News.
Mexican gangs. Mexican gangs. Right? Mexican gangs. It's not happening for the elite media. It's not happening for the elite media. Mexican gangs. Now, we're going to clear out the jails. That's what Donald Trump says. Pay attention. Give me a picture of a jail. First one. That's the train line. That's not the jail. See that? Look at the jail, folks. This is inside your jails today. Give me another one inside the jails. Huh? Check it out. Inside your jails. So when Donald Trump comes, don't leave that yet. When I blend in. When Donald Trump comes to the podium in the next couple of days, it says the bad guys are going to leave first. Do you see any hard working construction workers there that look like they're wanting to go home to their family? Do they look like that? Do you see that? I don't think so. I don't see it. Do you see people that are wanting to have the American dream? Is that the American dream, or are we framing the American dream to be something that, you know, is different? Am I saying, hey, this is the bad guys? First of all, when Trump comes out, okay, and he says the bad guys will be gone, all right? We've seen Mexican gangs in the inner city. They know that. Mexican gangs in the inner city. Bad guys in jail. Show us these gangs. One more. Give me one more. Look at this, folks. Look at this. Look at the tattoos. Look at the tattoos. Now, I'm not talking to you this morning about getting a tattoo. These are gang. They have a gang language. These are gangs that are in your jails that your tax dollars are paying for. Absolutely paying for. So this week, when Donald Trump comes out and he says, okay, we're going to build the wall. You see that. We have to build the wall. He's going to. When he says the bad guys are going first, the bad guys, the people that killed Kate Steinle with her dad holding her, saying, help me. The sanctuary cities where they're held up, the illegals are held up, and they're not working and being productive members of the community. They are held up in there, and they're hiding in these sanctuary cities and these gangs. When these guys get out, when they get out, do you know what they have to do to show their loyalty to their gang, to make sure that they know they have not been rehabilitated? They have to kill somebody. Oh yeah, you've heard the story. They have to go kill somebody. Donald Trump, build the wall. We've seen that. He's going to do that. He's going to stop. The border is going to get closed off. You're only coming in here through proper documentation and the proper channels. We're going to close the wall. Second, these guys, we're going to clean out the jails. We're going to clean out the gangs in the city. Look at what you heard. Those were not white people reporting their fear. You see that woman sitting on the stoop? Oh, there's a whole lot of old black women sitting in Chicago and these inner cities that would just like to live in peace. And they can't live in peace because of the fighting and the gangs. All right? What the hell do you have to lose? That's exactly right, voting for Donald Trump, because it's not going to get straightened out with Jesse Jackson and Al Sharpton stretching his neck out wanting to know where the policies are. Where are the policies? I still don't hear the policies, Al Sharpton. Okay, the bad guys are going. The gangs are going. The guys in jail, he's going to clean the jails out. You're going home. Build the wall. Now, let's go to number one. The next one. Look at that. They're on a construction site. I personally, myself, have probably worked, not with these two guys, with these two guys here. I've worked with these guys every day. Not these two, but I have. Every day when I was a kid. I'm telling you. You need to pay attention, all you hardliners. Go to the next work one. Look at that. Go to the next one. Now, let me ask you a question. Check that picture out. Looks like a Mexican gentleman there. Got a hard hat, coffee pot, coffee cup, got his safety vest. He's on a construction site. Got that look of just want to be a productive member of society. I might have 2 children in your school. I might have a wife at home. I'm out here doing the work, painting your bridge, building your deck, putting the addition on your garage, building your apartments, building your stores, and building your hotels. Can you go back to the gang one real quick and remember where you're at there? He doesn't look like that, does he? No, he doesn't look like that. Go back. That's who he looks like. See, this is immigration for common sense people. See, Donald Trump is going to do this methodically and humane. But see, it's the media from day one, that said that Donald Trump was not humane. That Donald Trump was going to be this deportation force. Did Donald Trump say that? Yes. I'll explain that in a minute. But it was going to be Donald Trump that was going to give your kid 50 lashes, his third grader, and tear him away from the mom. And the pictures of screaming children, please don't take my mommy. Donald Trump, they will go back and look at all of the footage where Trump said deportation force, and see how many times he follows it up by saying humane. We're going to be humane. Now he's telling you point blank, I'm going to be humane. You see that guy there? That's number 3, right? Let's go to number 4. See those kids shoveling a wheelbarrow? See those kids on a construction site? Building our houses? Now I know what you're going to say. Well, wait a minute. We have, Asians that work on job sites, and we have black Americans that work on construction sites, and we have white Americans. I'm white, folks. I'm white. Let me tell you something. Let me look you in the camera and let me tell you something. In 1985, okay, I watched the industry change. We were on a job site. We had a building sitting loaded with 1,200 sheets of drywall, 1,200 sheets per building. It sat for 3 weeks because we could not get anybody to work in it. Just either I'm telling you the truth, you got a choice this morning. I'm telling you the truth, or I'm flat out lying. And let me tell you something, I can get people all day long to tell you. We had building after building. We probably had 5,000 sheets of drywall sitting in apartment buildings. Nobody to put it up. Nobody. Now, I'm not against white people. You see, I don't know if you've noticed, I happen to be a little bit white here. What are you doing there, Lonnie? You got a little extra in the screen. I have nothing against the white race. I guess I don't. But I watched in 1985 the whole industry change. I watched every bit of it change. I watched where we had to get other people in to do the work. You can say whatever you want. All right? You can say what you want, but I watched it with my own eyes. Now, is that the last one? Now, listen to this. There's a reason we're going here. I'm not against education. I'm not against higher learning institutions. I'm not against what you're about to see, but there's a point in this. It's called What's the Matter with Owen? And there's a couple points here because there's a couple generations in this next video, and there's a young man in this next video. And the video is actually called What's the Matter with Owen? Watch this video. Lonnie, make sure I can hear it too, and they can hear it at home. All right, very important. Go ahead, take off, Lonnie.
Proud of you, son. GE, manufacturer.
Well, that's why I dug this out for you.
It's your grandpappy's hammer, and he would have wanted you to have it.
It meant a lot to him.
Yes, GE makes powerful machines, but I'll be writing the code that will allow those machines to share information with each other. I'll be changing the way the world...
You can't pick it up, can you? Go ahead. He can't lift the hammer.
It's okay, though. You're going to change the world.
It's okay, you're going to change the world. Dad says you can't even lift the hammer. It was your grandpappy's hammer out of the basement. You can't even lift it, can you? I'm going to be writing the code that changes the world. Well, that's great. That is absolutely great. Let's just sit around every coffee shop we can find with a latte, a laptop, and our feet kicked up and just continue to change the world. We found the guy that can lift the hammer. You see that? We found the guy. Check it out. This guy here, I'm on the wrong side. Check it out. We found a guy, Owen, that can lift that hammer. We found a guy. See that hammer? He can lift it. Well, let me tell you something, folks. And America, we still have no choice but to lift that hammer. We have no choice at all but to lift that hammer. Leave that hammer up. You see, how many times have I been to meetings, Tea Party out there, conservative groups, whatever, and you break it all on nothing. No, there's no moving you left or right. It's down the center. Down the center. They all got to go. Okay, fine. They all got to go. All right? But let me tell you something. Somebody in this country has to lift the hammer. And let me tell you what I've heard at a lot of those meetings. I heard you say out there, you know what? We have laws on the books. We have agencies to enforce if we would just do it. So let me tell you what I think is going to happen. I think Donald Trump's going to build the wall. We showed you that. I think he's going to stop the Mexican gangs or the Hispanic gangs or any. I think he's going to stop that and get the illegals out of these inner cities so that grandma can sit on the front stoop safely without gang violence. He's going to stop that. He's going to clean out the jails. The bad guys are going to go. He's going to stop sanctuary cities immediately. The bad people are going to go, okay? And the people that can lift the hammer, that whether you want to admit this morning, you go ahead, you don't admit it. But let me tell you, I don't care who you are. I don't care how hardcore you are. I don't care how you say everybody's got to go back. Don't care. You have enjoyed a restaurant. You have enjoyed a motel. You've enjoyed probably your own house, an addition on your house. I mean, some of you, if you found out when you bought your home in the mountains that Hispanics were framing or masons on your home, you probably wouldn't have bought it. But you bought the house, you didn't ask. Now, I know I'm touching the third rail here, right? But you didn't ask. You are so hardcore, everybody's got to go home. You are so hardcore that you didn't ask when you bought that house, hey, I'd like a full list. Like Mitt Romney, who's cutting the grass, I'd like a full list. I'd like to know if the Hispanics were framers on my house, if they were masons on my house, if they were drywallers, if they were painters. I want to know if one Hispanic worked on this property, and if you checked all their IDs, and you checked their green cards, and their citizenship papers. Now, if you did that, I'm interested in buying this house. But if you didn't, I'm going to move on. It doesn't happen, because I'm going to tell you something. Whether you want to admit it or not, I'm not saying the Hispanics are the only one that can lift a hammer. I'm not saying they're the only ones that can cut grass. But I'm going to tell you what. We need to find somebody that can lift a hammer in this country. You understand? Because we're in a mess if we don't. Because GE may bring good things to life, but Jose is building the building that you're in today probably. So I like the good things to life with the technology, and I like the code, and I like the internet. I like all that. I'm glad somebody is writing all that code, but somebody has to lift that hammer. Now, Donald Trump's going to tell you that these people here, if they will come out of the shadows and they will go back across the border and go through a process, okay, that he will let them come back through, but not without consequences and not without documentation and getting their taxes correct. You might call it amnesty. You might not like it. You may like nothing about it. But I'm telling you this morning, Donald Trump's immigration plan is just simple common sense. He will use ICE. He will use the Border Patrol. He will support them. He will let them do their jobs. He will allow them to deport, when necessary, anybody that is violating the rules. Because, folks, let me tell you something. You got a problem out there, Republicans. This is not an election for the weak. This is not an election for the elite. This is not an election for the elite media, okay? You need to get on board and not be manipulated by what the media is doing to you and calling him Amnesty Don. It's the furthest thing from the truth. Because let me tell you something. You got a problem with Donald Trump, what Donald Trump's offering? You got a problem with this guy here, Ronald Reagan. So don't give me your holy Ronald Reagan stories and have a problem with Donald Trump. Because let me tell you something. 1986, the Democrats made a deal with the Democrats on border security. And guess what? It didn't happen. Amnesty for border security. You know what Donald Trump's going to do different than Ronald Reagan didn't? And I love Ronald Reagan. He's right here on the desk. This is my hero right there, folks. So don't tell me I'm saying anything about Ronald Reagan. But let me tell you what Trump's going to do different than Ronald Reagan did. He's going to say, no, you guys had your chance. You promised border security. You promised a wall. You promised every bit of that, and you didn't do it. We're going to build that wall this time and do everything we have to do to secure our border for the American people. That's my take. Common sense immigration. Now, we found the only gang that Donald Trump has agreed not to deport or do anything with. This is the only gang that Donald Trump will accept in America. Lonnie? That was your cue, Lonnie. There they are. There it is. That's the only gang. Look at Spank. That's the only gang that Donald Trump has said that he will not deport. Okay? Hey, the hell with the travel record. With the health records. The heck with that. Quit asking for the health records. Let's leave that up. Don't ask for the health records. Hillary's. I don't care. I don't care. All right, she's sick, whatever. I want to see her travel schedule. Donald Trump, you make her a deal today that if she will release, and you put a panel of judges to make sure it's accurate, not redacted, and she doesn't cheat. God knows, asking Clinton to do something and not cheat. But you ask for her travel records, all of them, and you release your tax returns. I don't know, but do something. Get those travel records. To heck with the health records. I'm your host, BKP. Good morning from the office. Am I running that late? We'll be right back, and we're going to have Monday Morning Quarterback. Sorry we're running late, and we have a guest at 9. Lonnie, take us to break.